Hi, I'm Sarah Micah, and this is my final project for sustainability. The name of my project is called Entling, and it's an app for tracking CO2 emissions of your purchases. And so, my idea for this project was to harness collective action in some way to make it easier for people to take positive action. I feel like there's a lot of people out there who want to do more to help the planet and don't know where to start and feel it's very overwhelming for them to do so, especially in such a busy world we live in. I created an app to make it easier for people to find out information about their purchases. So many companies out there, like Shein, continue to harm our environment with no consequences because it's profitable for them to do so. And I know a lot of people know that Shein is not a great company to purchase from, but the prices are so cheap and people don't know what alternatives are out there for them all the time. So, research for this project was just kind of looking into other options that are already out there. And there's honestly not a whole lot in terms of like life cycle analysis. The one we used for class was like a really good starting point. It definitely helped me on that homework assignment. However, if you don't have the knowledge of how to perform a life cycle analysis already, this website is not super intuitive to the average user. You have to look up each of the steps of a life cycle on your own, find out a bunch of in-depth information that might not be really easy to find about particular products. So it's a lot of manual work for a user to get to that end state of like, what is the CO2 impact of this purchase? Other apps are that I found, like Greenly is one of the most popular ones. It's pretty popular for companies, but I don't think it's really meant for an individual user who's just trying to get an impact of a purchase. This is kind of built for companies who want to do their part to provide sustainability reports for consumers and stakeholders, kind of track the end-to-end product life cycle. Really great in-depth tool here that provides not only technical features on the website to perform the life cycle analysis yourself, it also offers real technical support from people to kind of walk you through all of the steps for life cycle analysis and help do that research. One other app that was actually created by UCLA students is called Decarbon, and it's meant for end users to track their own purchases. So this is very similar to what my idea was. A really great tool that has this really beautiful UI built in to kind of show you all of the purchases that you've made, sorts it out by category, and tracks your total CO2 emissions, and kind of nudges you to take action to reduce your own impact. So this was a really great app that I found, and it integrates with something called Plaid to get purchases directly from your bank, so that you don't have to manually do any manual input, which is great. It makes it really easy for people to use it. However, because it's just using those dollar amounts, there's not a really, it doesn't provide a very accurate CO2 analysis for each purchase. It just takes the dollar amount and the category because that's all that is really ever provided by your bank, and performs a very generic analysis based on how much you're spending to the average impact for that category. So this is a really great way to get a lot of data about all of your purchases and provide it to you in one place without requiring you to do any manual input. However, it doesn't provide really accurate information all of the time since it's just using the dollar amounts, and it doesn't offer any in-depth insight into different companies who might be taking more action to reduce their impact, like Patagonia versus Shein, for example. It doesn't nudge the user to avoid the purchase before it already happens. It just provides an after the fact analysis. So my idea was more towards helping people, like nudge them away from bad purchases before they even buy them. And I wanted to provide a really in-depth analysis so that people know not just like some vague number of CO2 emitted, which doesn't always mean that much if you don't look at this information every day. But I wanted to give a lot of details about why the product might be good or bad and offer examples of like other products they could purchase instead. The name Entling was actually based off of my favorite movie, Lord of the Rings. One of the creatures in the movie is supposed to be the protector of the forest. The Entling is supposed to be a take on that for a new age of corporate insight and accountability so that everybody can be their own shepherd of the forest, so to speak. My app uses generative AI to build a life cycle analysis for the exact product and company that you are purchasing from. And I wanted to make it really easy to use so that you don't have to dig in and Google a bunch of information on your own. So we have ChatGPT behind the scenes kind of doing a bunch of the lookups for you and performing the life cycle analysis for each step so that all you have to do as the user is enter the link of the product and the website will do everything else. My overall goal was to have a Chrome extension that pairs with this service as well so that you don't even have to go to the website. You just install the Chrome extension, and the idea is that the extension's running behind the scenes, and anytime you go through a checkout flow when you're on Chrome on your computer, the extension will run this analysis for you and it'll pop up if it detects that you're checking out and kind of give you that impact analysis report and nudge you either that this is a good purchase or that maybe you should purchase something else instead. Yeah, so that's the whole background. I guess now we can get into a demo because that's where I spent most of my time on this. So yeah, let me pull up the app. This is the basic. You can start by just checking out a homepage, and then you can go straight to product search and it will work without doing anything, but it's recommended to sign in so you can get more accurate analysis and save all the purchases. So I will go ahead and give you a demo of that. Actually, let me make a new account. I'm going to pick a location other than the one I live in just to show some of the shipping costs because a lot of companies are actually based in LA. You start by going to a product. Let's pick this product for instance. And all you have to do is take the link here and go back to the app, enter the link and hit search. And then my backend service is doing this full analysis. You can't see my screen at the moment. I'm only sharing my Chrome, but it's pulling up the whole lifecycle analysis based on each of the categories, and it actually found it pretty quickly. So it starts by just pulling out the name of the product from the website and the company name and the category of the product. So this one would show up as clothing on the back end. And then we pull out the materials used to create the product, which is usually populated right on the website. So yeah, you can see here Tencel, Lionel fabric, ChatGPT got that for us. It's not always totally accurate. Sometimes these numbers may fluctuate a little bit. My goal for the future would be to have this all stored in a database and fine tune these results further and further the more it's looked up. But yeah, it'll pull out the estimates for the product, the materials used to create the product. I'm also checking against the names of the products. So if there's any plastic materials, we flag that for you here as well. And then it'll show you on each of these categories, similar to how we did for the life cycle assignment, the emissions for each stage of the process. And this is being estimated using generative AI, and it shows the kind of analysis it did behind the scenes and how it came up with these numbers. So you can get the full breakdown here at the bottom. Processing and manufacture. Shipping is based on the location that you enter when you create your account, and then it looks up the location of the company. I believe Marine Layer is LA based. I don't know why. There must have been a bug. Sometimes it doesn't pull all of the information, but that's fine. If it doesn't get all of the information, it'll just provide its best estimate. And the use and end of life. So we pull out the estimated length of life for the product based on the company name and the product category. Sometimes it will show a shorter or longer estimated life cycle just based on the sustainability and durability of the product. And it shows you a little breakdown here as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the life cycle analysis. Obviously, it's pretty bare bones at the moment, but I hope to spend more time in the future to build this out and fine tune the results. And down here at the bottom, I added a little nudge to ask if the user wants to avoid the emissions or if they truly want to make the purchase. And if you say that you're going to avoid the impact, it will show up here on your account details and log your total emissions avoided versus emissions produced. And if you click here, we save all of this information in the backend database, so you don't have to look it up again, which is really helpful because sometimes this analysis takes quite a while to generate. Yeah, and you can look up various different types of products. I will go ahead and just demo a few different categories so we can see how it's working. So I don't know if you remember, but the impact for the other t-shirt from Marine Layer was drastically lower than this bathing suit from this company because mainly it's based out of Britain. So the shipping impact is a lot higher than it was before because you're getting a lot of CO2 just transporting the product. Even though I know for a fact this company is committed to sustainability and they do tend to have lower impact for all of the processing and resources that they're using. You can even see here that they're using recycled polyester, some kind of polyester in their production, which is great. But because they're based out of Britain, like this might not be the best product for me personally to purchase since I'm based in the US, and that's going to be a higher impact overall. I also hope in the future I would like to create different thresholds for each of the product categories. So if it's clothing, electronics, etc., kind of get average CO2 emissions, and then we can show the user like this is higher or lower than the expected and give them like accordingly a nudge to determine whether or not it's a good purchase for them. Doing another t-shirt just so that we can compare similar products. Okay, great. Now you can see Patagonia is a certified B Corp, which a B Corp is like a third party international standard of sustainability, and they do a bunch of analysis into how the company operates. If you don't know about B Corp, definitely look into it. It's a great way to determine whether a company has good sustainability practices. So that is just another thing that I flagged down when looking up details about a company. So we're showing that here. I also created my own table of companies on the back end. Like I personally know Patagonia is a really good company, so I just right now I'm doing a really simple check for the company name to see what information we already have about them. And yeah, let's take a look at this impact report. You can see they're based in Ventura, so the shipping costs are a lot lower. Resource extraction is pretty low. They're using recycled polyester, which is great. Honestly, I'm not sure why the processing and end of life emissions are so much higher. That's kind of unexpected. But as I said, this is not always accurate. ChatGPT is not a perfect tool. Okay, yeah, this is much more expected. Okay, so yeah, we can see here 60% organic cotton, 40% recycled polyester. Let's double check whether that seems accurate. Yeah, exactly correct. Nice. And Ventura is the manufacturer location for Patagonia. That's, yeah. Now if we go back to account, oh wait, I forgot. We only save the results right now if you answer the nudge question. So I'm going to say no. I feel like if I'm going to buy a t-shirt, I would want to do it from Patagonia. So let's add that here to my emissions produced. And you can see this Patagonia shirt has like half of the impact of the marine layer one, even though they're both pretty sustainable companies. So that's something that I myself would not have known. Like I kind of just try to purchase from companies I know are good, and then that's all I personally ever look into. So this, for me, this has been great. Like I actually used this this week to look up some of the purchases I was already making for myself. Let's look up a few other things just to see how it does with a different category. I'll do an electronic item and I'll do a camping item from REI that I actually did purchase this month. So let's see how much CO2 I generated from this. Yeah, so you can see here the impact of this purchase is a lot higher than the clothing articles. That's kind of expected. This is a sleeping pad. It's made with plastics usually. It's a pretty big item. It has a lot of foam inside. It's got some special plastics to keep everything insulated. This is a very technical, targeted item that is meant for a specific outdoor purpose. So there's a lot of materials in it that might not be the most sustainable. However, it does have a much longer lifespan. So I would probably just want to make sure that any purchases like this that I'm making, I'm using for their full life cycle and getting as much wear out of them as I can and taking care of it. It has a lot of emissions just in the manufacturing process as well. That's kind of expected for something very technical like a camping sleeping pad. So I'm going to say no, I'm not pledging to avoid the emissions. This is something I already purchased actually, and I don't expect to be buying many of these. So whenever you take the no prompt on the nudge, it will remind you how long the expected life cycle of the product is, and just to make sure that you are using it for its full life cycle if you can. Let's take a look at my account again, and you can see that sleeping pad got added to my emissions produced, as well as the Patagonia shirt, and I opted out of the marine layer shirt. So we can always look up this information again. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole thing. So yeah, hopefully I'll get it up on the website soon. I would really love to put this out into the world because this was a fun project for me, and I hope other people can find value from it too. One other improvement I did want to make in the future is that I haven't already mentioned is adding user reviews so that people can collectively come up with their own insights instead of just trusting my information. I feel like there's a lot of power in collective action and collective information, and I would want this website to not only be a tool for people, but be a place for others to share information that they know. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.